Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You're an idiot.
No, it's the closest freaking buttons. I'm not trying to put ass
That's the
on them.
closest thing to your fingers is ass.
Alright. Making the call. Oh god. Let's see if we can hear him.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear him. I think we have to make this louder.
Yeah, on the alignment, I was doing the text, and the closest things to my hand was just A S S and then A. So I was about to type up ass for you.
Lovely.
Oh god.
Do we need it louder or are you good?
Oh, I think I could hear him loud and clear.
Louder.
There. Okay, out of 50. Oh. And then you could hear us all good.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, so it's been a while since the last time we did this. It's like
Yeah, it's been a... how long has it been?
let me see.
Quite a while.
But so far we're back today to see how it's been. It's been a while for that, and then you've changed as a man. You've grown.
Yeah. Grown and changed as a person. I feel like a whole new person.
Shedded your skin everywhere.
Grew another
Yeah.
toe, another hand,
Yeah, another arm.
another head.
Oh.
Yeah.
So far, so you made probably like 2 games since that.
Yeah. How have you guys been? Like, just in general?
Oh, good. Around here, we've just like been working here and there, been going out here and there too, and then so far like no mask really. It's been like safer.
Yeah, I think, like, in general, it's been, I know that I've had to, like, wear a mask, like, when I have to go on, like a bus or something like that. But for the most part, it seems people are just kind of, masks or whatever. So, which is good.
The only time we really have to wear a mask is like going to one of our game stores because they're just like want to keep things safe, and she's like the only person working there, so it's like, yeah, we get it. It's like if you get sick, then the store is just closed for a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so far we're gonna talk about your latest game, Project Malice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I've seen about 2 of your devlogs, but I think you have like
I think
maybe
it's 3,
5.
4.
Is it 4 or 3?
There's 3 at the moment.
There's 3. Felt like there was more.
See, Omar, you're missing out.
I know.
Yeah.
He got distracted by the back rooms videos, and then he's like, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
So far for Project Malice, it started as just as a jam one, but after that it just expanded more.
Yeah, it was my Ludum Dare 48 submission. I kind of started off, and as I was working on it, I was kind of like, I feel like I can probably take this to something bigger. Like, it was originally just supposed to be like a 3D randomly generated. You just played as like the first character and had like one enemy, and I also had in the files there's like a boss thing that I think I'm just gonna scrap. But it was basically like a giant flesh monster, and you'd basically like go down 5 floors, and then you'd encounter the boss, and that was pretty much it. And after that, I was like, I think I'm gonna work on this for a little bit more. So.
So you just had a basic layout in your head, or just what you thought of before, just for the jam?
I I feel like for a while I was kind of like before I started working on it, I was kind of toying with the idea of making like a randomly generated thing.
Mm.
Um, like I have a few projects where I've sort of worked on like doing like randomly generated maze stuff and all that jazz, but I never really made anything out of that. So
Mm. So part of you just like huge catalog of what I haven't done yet.
yeah, when you're when you have when you do game development, it's like you have a lot of like unfinished projects. Like I have like so many just stuff that I've worked on for like maybe a few days and then just completely left alone. I've been getting a lot better at like finishing stuff. Like I try to make sure whenever I do a game jam submission, I try to make it, like a full thing sort of. So
Yeah. Put more work into it, a bit more polish of just like
yeah.
yeah.
No, but also there are a bunch of game jam games where they're do like really good, or the person likes the idea, so they make it into a full game, and then like 2 or 3 years later, it comes out on Steam.
Mm.
Yeah. This was Inscription did that. It was originally a Ludum Dare submission as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was called it was called something completely different. I don't remember what it was called. um, and also, Friday Night Funkin' was also a Ludum Dare submission. I think that was the same one I did Vibe Shard for. So that was the late 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just getting into all that rhythm games for everything, and then
Yeah.
Friday Night Funkin' just taking over the internet for a while.
Yeah.
Because there were so many, and it was like, damn, this. Some of them were like just really good, or some of them were like a bit more simpler. It's just like, dang, you have so much time to do this, but like, how do you do for like normal?
I don't know.
games
It basically
too?
just replaced Baldi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Because
the next thing.
before it was like there's mods for Five Nights, and then Baldi came out and there's mods for that, and then like just one of those times where a popular game gets like 500 mods.
Yeah.
Did it get Kickstarted? I can't remember. Or did they try to?
It Friday Night Funkin' it like exceeded like the Kickstarter goal in like the first like few hours or so,
Yeah.
and it like got like 4,000% funded in like a few days or something. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing it, I was like, whoa, is that pretty quick?
Yeah.
It's just those times where it's like, just go with the momentum, see how it goes, and it just it just kept going.
Yeah.
And then just influence like many other people to like put in their games, or just something like at Roseblight, I remember when you just put that in. So I was like, this looks familiar.
Yeah, I put it in because I was like, because initially, like forever, like when it first came out, I came up with the idea like if I were to make like a Friday Night Funkin' mod, what would it would look like? And I was like, could do a versus Blight one, but I thought that would be a little eh. But I thought like a versus Mage, so I was like, that would be cool. So if I were to do one, that's what I'd do. And I thought like, you know what? I have this power. I want to make a rhythm game anyway, so I just decided to try and see if I could recreate it, and then I just added in for the hell of it. So
Yeah, and then it was really, really hard, and we just randomly pushed buttons like crazy, and then we somehow got the color.
yeah,
Because the good thing, like how it's set up, like you're barely getting past like the forest area, and then you get up to there, and then you just go into a bar, and then the guy just wants to just battle you right there. So I was like, oh, didn't expect that.
yeah,
Yeah, and then you're like, it's not that bad, and then you get out of the bar, and then it goes all crazy.
yeah. You go sicko mode.
Okay, so for
How do you choose the enemies and characters that you put into the new game?
for Project Malice. Wait. There's audio. Mess up.
Is it our audio?
Oh,
So
there we go.
was was that?
No, our audio messed up a little. We couldn't hear you. Oh, there you go.
I blame you, Omar.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
So
there
for
we
that,
go.
basically what I've been doing is just that I've been just making like concept art designs. So what I've been doing is I've been doing like line art, and then what I do is I take that line art and I turn it into pixel art, so that way it has like a line art pixel art sort of mix style. So that makes it easier to animate. Most of the sprites are like around 160 by 160, which I think is probably the largest that I've done so far.
Thank.
And the higher like the resolution is, the harder it is to animate and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
but overall, I've just been like just thinking about like what comes to mind, like if I want to have like a zombie with like a gun, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna give a zombie a gun and just see where that goes. Or if I want to do like I added a giant mosquito recently, so I was like, what if I just put in a giant mosquito? So I did that. But yeah, I've just kind of just been like, I try to make every enemy unique. It's just they bring something new to the table. Like if one, there's one that it decreases like your defense if you get close enough. So like if you're within a certain range, it decreases it, and basically it makes other enemies that are around you, they just deal more damage to you. So yeah.
So
Just
you like go
ahead.
through a couple steps in your head to just think of like, I've got this concept, and then what are they going to do next to the player?
Yeah. Yeah. I try to have ones that are like just different, and try to bring something new to the table.
It's like, I'm going to make a giant ant, and then I have to figure out
can
what
do
it's
that.
going to do, and then I have to make
Yeah.
it slightly cooler.
Yeah.
Or like your spider, and like Roseblight, where you had a skeleton riding it. So it's just like
Yeah.
those mixtures,
Yeah.
making those combos.
See, it's not cool enough. It has to be something riding it.
Yeah.
It has to be on fire.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't made any mounted ones yet. But I'll probably do that at some point.
And then the other part was, you're like bringing in like guest kind of ones, like the other indie game ones that are zombified.
Yeah. So originally, what I planned on doing for this is that it was going to be a part of a bundle, with a bunch of other people who are making smaller games. One of my dev friends, he was organizing it and was like, hey, let's all make a bunch of games and put on onto one bundle. We can put on Steam, stuff like that. So we talked about doing that for a while. Some people made their own games. I don't know if you know FUR DVD. If you guys played that one. The guy who made that, he organized the bundle, and that was going to be part of the bundle as well. But we eventually decided just to not do that. The reason that I added the cameos in the first place is because I just wanted to have like a way for the other games that were in the same bundle to sort of like tie in together. Like there were going to be like other characters from stuff like that, and it'd be like sort of just to sort of represent the people who worked on that kind of stuff. But after we decided to just discontinue doing the bundle, I didn't want to like remove those cameo enemies, so I just asked people, "Hey, is it okay if I leave these in?" They're like, "Oh yeah, that's sure." So I just left them in. And then for some other indie devs, I asked them, "Hey, I have some cameo characters in my game. Would you like if if you'd like me to put some of your characters into my game as well?" And they said, "Sure." So I made a few concept art designs, sent it to them, and stuff like that. So yeah,
Nice.
I would like to I'd like to try to do more if possible in the future. But I'm not going to add any more before I make any public releases. So
Because you've been working on it for how long? How long has it been?
right now it's been not consecutively, but I started working on it maybe about a year ago. Because I was still working on Roseblight.
Because I remember, like, way back, I did talk to you about, like, other things that you're doing, and I remember you showed me a few of your new art, and it was, like, the zombie with the gun in his head. That was, like, way back.
Just neither.
It's like, whoa, it has been a while.
Yeah, because, like, I was still working on Roseblight at the time, because I was like, okay, well, I have the idea for my next game, but I still have to finish my other game first, so I decided to just focus mostly on Roseblight and just sort of work on this on the side, just so I can have like a side project if I do get bored of working on Roseblight. Because when you work on like one project for like a really long time, you can kind of get tired of it, you know.
Yeah. And especially just how it just went towards the end. You just wanted to get it out there.
Yeah.
And then it did get out there, and then yeah. And then you did want to do more, but then it was like, well, this is a good stopping point.
Yeah, I was kind of like, because I kind of figured, because like I initially Roseblight was going to be a lot longer, and about halfway through development, I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to realistically finish this. So I just decided to sort of split it in half, or maybe split into like 2/5 or something like that. But it was originally going to be like a lot longer, and some of the ideas that I had for later on in the game, I've just decided to sort of put them on the back burner and possibly do like a sequel at some point. So as I was making Roseblight, I was creating it with the intention that I would continue the story in a sequel of some sort. So, and Project Malice is sort of like a mutation of that. Because
nice wording for mutation.
yeah. But it was originally just going to be like its own thing. But I think what I'm going to do is it's just basically going to be a Roseblight sequel.
Yeah, but also like
time, so.
A bunch of your games are basically like prequels or sequels. Or
anything. There's like a whole timeline.
Yeah, because even your newest game is technically a sequel prequel thingy.
Yeah, for Reversery.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, because it's still set somewhere in the timeline in the whole thing.
Yeah, it basically takes place like way after Roseblight. So.
Yeah.
All right, now, did you think of that before or in like the middle of like you were making the Reversery?
I kind of just as far as like the story for that one goes, I kind of was just like, what could I do? I feel like a lot of it was kind of shoehorned in. So I was just kind of like for like when York and Emily showed up, I was like, okay, so I want to have characters from my other games show up. I don't know which one. So I was like, who haven't I talked about in a long time? And I thought about Clockwatch. I was like, oh yeah, that's an unresolved storyline. So I just brought them back in.
Yeah.
So,
but also that's kind of the easiest one because like that one's kind of time travel and also dimensions and all this stuff.
Like
so
they actually travel across like different places, so like it fits in that aspect of like they even brought up the cosmic highway or the freeway.
Cosmic freeway. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Which technically you can put as like your time traveling device of just putting anybody anywhere because that exists.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
See, you just made a TARDIS.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Well, it's technically like the tunnel that's in Doctor Who.
Yeah, from actually playing the game too.
Yeah. Just I don't think the TARDIS shoots anything. Or hits anything. Or gets attacked by a random giant ice monster. Like, I think it did get attacked once or twice.
I think so. It's been a long time since we watched some Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And then, what about your Project Malice? What else is there? Because I only watched like the first devlog, and that was a long time ago.
And,
So I haven't.
and also, you only put up like 50 pictures or so on Twitter.
Yeah. Because so far, how far are you of like being done / that you're good enough to put out something?
So I was aiming to release it 2 days ago. That didn't work out. So I would say I'm splitting it up into like 3 sections. Like part 1, part 2, part 3. Most likely. Part 1 will basically be free. It'll be just like the first 2 areas, everything that showed up to this point. So it'll be like 2 bosses, 2 areas, and some other like extra areas, probably. I would say that part is mostly complete. A lot of it is just kind of like scattered, and I just sort of need to put it together. Like I have all the pieces, but I just got to like shove them into one thing and be like, okay, this works. Like I still have to do like the tutorial, and I need to make like a functional menu and options and stuff like that. I want to try to add like a sort of like an index for the enemies that you find, like the Wikipedia and Roseblight.
Yeah.
But for this, because there's a lot of enemies that you need to look at. So I need to do that. But as far as like overall like gameplay, whatnot, like that kind of stuff is pretty much good to go. Hopefully, I think at the latest, probably like I want to see if I can have it out in May at some point. Because after May, I'm going to be pretty busy over the summer. So I definitely wanted to have something out at some point. But yeah, that's my current plan at the moment. And then after that, I'll just see what happens. I'm not sure how long it'll take me to finish like the rest of it. But I'll just keep working on it.
So it's just your main project that you just want to passionately go into.
Yeah. I've thought about doing like a Kickstarter for it. It's probably too late for it now because Kickstarter season's already over.
Yeah.
But I did think about doing it for a while, and I was like, it's probably not going to be viable because once you do like a Kickstarter, that's a lot of work that you have to put into it. You have to, talk to a lot of people, stuff like that. And I can't really do that right now because I'm not really like a professional game developer. I'm kind of just some guy who knows how to make games, and I don't do this primarily to get paid. Like this is like a thing.
See, just like most people on Itch.
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. So, but at some point, I probably could. It's just mostly kind of like bad timing, But I could probably do a Kickstarter for one of my games at some point in the future.
Because still the basic part is like making at least a demo.
Yeah,
and then
more people viable product.
And then more people usually get like into it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Plus, like even with like a randomized thing, like demos are easier because then people can play it over and over again, or like.
Yeah. I would say out of all of my games, this one probably has the most replayability. Like it's it's like a rogue light. So but yeah, it's like permadeath, all the stuff's randomly generated. So even if after you beat the first 2 areas, like you can just still go back through and like see what different type of runs you can get, fill out all the stuff. Because there's like a pretty good chunk of like content so far. Like there's like a bunch of different items that you can get, like a bunch of different enemies you can encounter. all that jazz.
Yeah, because I remember one of them that was really good was Dead Estate.
Oh, Dead
Yeah,
State
yeah,
was-
yeah. Yeah,
that
Dead
was
State
good.
was really good. I kind of used that game as a bit of inspiration. 'Cause I thought it was really good.
Yeah, because they brought out because it wasn't like a game jam game, and then they turned it into a actual
Yeah.
thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then you played
Yeah.
it like crazy, Omar.
Yeah, I played a lot.
I think you got like all the endings and all
I
the
was
characters.
Close. I still need one more character, and then figure out to do like the no-hit run or just like some of the other possible things. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, and also for freaking, for one of the characters, I could have done it, but I didn't know it was an achievement until later. It's like, I had such a good run, but I didn't think about it at all. It's like, but yeah, I could see your game kind of going like that. It gets really good potential, and it has that replayability that it's going to be a different experience for like most people. It doesn't seem like it would repeat anywhere if you like polish it up that much. Of like, it's going to be random enough that you're going to see the same enemies, but sometimes you're going to get that secret or those secret ones.
Yeah, and
And
then
then, like,
we play it, and
ones.
then we accidentally find all your secrets in the first run.
Oof.
Yeah.
That would be good.
I
Well,
think
that
an
does
interesting thing is a lot of the enemies, they kind of like interact with each other. Like as I'm playing, like there's like each like sort of floor has like a bunch of different rooms. So you like walk into a room and you see, okay, so this enemy does this and this enemy does that, and if they're sort of near each other, then that's bad news. So you sort of like have like a prioritization. So like you want to like scoot past the big tough short range guy and move over to the long range one, take that one out first, and then take out the big guy afterwards. Because if you work out the big guy first, then the longer range one is going to be like, hey, you're open and you're reloading, I'm going to shoot you and kill you.
So the characters or like the enemies have like that synergy that you got to break up of like if these two are in the same room, that's going to be a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if there's a giant guy who has a bunch of health, and then there's like a bunch of little guys who are super fast, then you don't know what to do.
Yeah. There's also like a lot of there's the K series enemies who are unkillable. So even if like one of them is Pablo the cactus farmer, and his deal is that he summons cacti as you walk into the room, and he's actually pretty tough to deal with because the cacti they can take damage, but their health regrows. So he basically sort of creates like a bunch of obstacles in the room, and it's kind of a big issue if you have like a lot of low health enemies, because the cacti can basically tank your attacks for them.
Dang.
So yeah, a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, and then you have to play it and then balance it so that everything actually works, and then somebody's not too powerful or too weak or anything.
Yeah, I'm not incredibly concerned about balance because it's a single player game.
Yeah.
Like a lot of roguelikes, a lot of the fun comes from just being so incredibly overpowered. Like a lot of the times, like I played Enter the Gungeon a lot, and I only played rainbow runs after I unlocked the ability to have that, because my runs were just have any of you guys played that one?
Yeah, not all.
Yeah, because like
because I got to the very end, and then like I got to I think it was the dragon, or basically the final boss had really good weapons and everything, then just messed up a little too much.
Yeah,
and then got hit by like 50 hits.
Yeah, the dragon is pretty tough.
Yeah,
but the only times I've ever like beaten the games was when I had the rainbow run, because that gives you like a guaranteed rainbow chest. So you just like you get a lot of good items, and then at some point you'd get clone, and it's like, oh well, time to restart my run. So you basically loop, and then you go back and get more powerful items, and then you get cloned again. So you just keep going and going until you're just like crazy overpowered with all these really good guns. And that's basically the only way I was able to actually get all of the characters and the endings and stuff like that, because I was just stupidly overpowered. And that was a lot of fun. Like it just felt nice to just steamroll everything.
Yeah. No, because it is a difficult game, but also it depends on how lucky you are. Because sometimes you can
luck
get
is
like
an important factor. Yeah.
really good weapons, and then you just get a really bad setup of enemies, or you just accidentally don't do something right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of them I was playing that I think I got all the trophies for, was Going Under. Which,
Going Under.
yeah, it's by Aggro Crab, I think.
Oh yeah, Going Under.
Oh, is that that like the business one?
Yeah, the business one.
That one's a really good roguelite.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
Yeah, because basically you start off and you kind of just suck, and then you play it like over and over again, and then it actually gets really easy, and then you unlock weapons by buying them to put them into the dungeon, so you can find better combos and better weapons, and and then it goes through like 3 different dungeons, and each dungeon after you beat it, you get like a slight boost, like you get more HP or stuff like that.
No, the perks and stuff.
Yeah, and then you also get perks from the other employees that you can choose from, and you can upgrade them by doing basically tasks for them. So in the very beginning you suck, and then if you play longer and longer, then you become overpowered. Yeah, and then after you do that, then there's a hard version of each one of those. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I only saw that like from the back of my head because like I had to work while he was like playing all of that.
Yeah. Because basically it's like, oh, there's only 3 of them. And then you go through them and it's like it gets harder, and then you get way too good. And then they made the hard versions of them that you have to go through, and then you're kind of weak again.
Yeah.
And then you have to beat all 3 of them again, but even harder. And then you have to beat like the final boss room thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can play them as many times as you want.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like even started trying to just speed through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I really like Noita, but that's a whole other thing.
I really want to give Noita a shot at some point. Like it's like, I don't know. It feels like there's just so much like depth to it.
Yeah.
Like they have like parallel dimensions and stuff like that.
Yeah, like even digging deeper into it, I played like for so many hours, but to even find any of those like lore stuff or just to dig deeper is really hard because it's mostly in the beginning or like on the top of everything, because you usually go down into the cave and then you just get deeper and deeper. But if you move like left or just more right, then you're gonna go into like a different environment. But then most of the people just go in, but you could also go the other way or above it to find even more stuff. And then there's like scrolls that tell you like random cryptic things, and then you gotta do this and that, and then
because also it is sort of like it's basically like the same engine looking like for Terraria, where basically you go down and then there's lore, and then there's random weapons and random enemies.
Yeah, it kind of go like that, but
just that one's more actually fighting instead of like building a house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got a lot of randomness that keeps it fun. Like, even like for the wands and their combinations, it was just fun. And then
and then sometimes you self-destruct.
Yeah, where that happens. But I could say this, and also I should have recorded it, where I defeated the final boss with like where you could summon animals, and I had like a deer or a rabbit, and it just like it was ducks that it bounced off a wall, then it creates another one, and they explode. So it like kept going all around, and it went super crazy, and it destroyed the final boss. So it was like, I should have recorded it. It was glorious.
Yeah. But also, that game was in early access for a long time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and then it finally got like 1.0, and then they're still like trying to fix and add things.
I hope so, because it's been a while.
Well, it's a big game.
Yeah. And also just like some glitches here and there, but it's
Well, there's always
very
gonna
solid.
be glitches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because anything can happen in a big game.
Yeah, because somebody thinks that their game is perfect, and then we play it, and then we float off into the sunset, even though there's like no sun. Yeah.
Because
Or we somehow like find something secret that they didn't even know was in there.
and then recently, trying to go through like the old Roseblights because on 420 is when we first played it, so just going through the old videos, seeing like how it changed so far,
Hmm.
and then even like when we asked you of like, how do you do this or what is this and that, it's like, those were the days when it was simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, where we would randomly ask you how to solve a puzzle, and then you tell us that there's a button behind a tree or something.
Yes, I love doing that. It's just it's just like, oh yeah, I wanted to like just have just like a puzzle that's just like almost impossible to beat, and then just like, oh, did you know you can also just walk over here and click some buttons and then just automatically solve it? I just thought that'd be really funny.
I don't know, your new game is going to have randomized rooms, so you can randomly insert that, and then one person finds it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been kind of toying with the idea of adding puzzles like that in it. I probably could do it because it's like each area has like different rooms and stuff like that. And what I'm planning on doing is that they have like the regular like randomly generated rooms, but some of them will be like a safe area where there's like shops and stuff like that and NPCs you can talk to.
Yeah.
And then some of the rooms will be, or some of the floors will be like a wave room. So like you walk in, there's like a room, and then like instead of like wandering around, it's just one room, and waves of enemies will start spawning.
Oh, I like those ones.
Yeah, so you have to beat that first. And I also have toyed with the idea of doing like other mini games. Like I know in Enter the Gungeon they have that one mini game where you have to like sort of ricochet bullets off of like bouncing wall. Yeah, that one. Doing something like that would be viable and pretty cool.
Yeah, where you just randomly gamble with mini games.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you can get this really shiny new thing that could possibly make you overpowered, but you have to do this to actually get it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just do something impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, wasn't there a game like that where it's like, oh, you can get this weapon, but you have to get it without getting hit in this room.
Ah, that sounds familiar.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you can get this, but you have to defeat all the enemies without getting hit once. And then, like, another one.
I can't remember what that is, but it sounds so familiar.
Oh, you have to survive in this room for, like, 30 seconds. And then you have to, like, I forgot what game it was. But it had, like, 3 or 4 different random rooms where you can get, like, a reward.
Yeah.
Then usually they're, like, really
I think
hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think stuff like that would be viable.
Yeah. The big hard update. Where you just add all the difficult things to it.
Yeah.
Bigger and harder and harder, thicker, and juicier.
Nice and girthy.
The big, large, hard, girthy update.
The Roseblight. It was just like one little bug fix. That was so fun. Just to mess with the update names.
That seems like an April Fool's thing or something.
Oh, someday, because when it's April Fool's, we sometimes like forget or we just get too busy around that time. It's like we want to do something again.
Yeah.
Well, we've only done it like once.
I think twice, but the other time was I think it was like Tony Specs, but it was just the recording of her cat.
For like 20 minutes.
Yeah. To like some smooth jazz or something I had there at the time.
Yeah. That's when we were smaller and nobody cared. We're still small and possibly no one will care, but still.
I care. I care about you guys. Don't worry. I got you.
I don't know. For some reason, I think because of your last game, we've actually gotten like a bunch of subscribers.
Yeah, so far, for some reason, even without like having the comments turned on for the itch page, it's just been getting a lot of activity. I don't know what you've been doing, but it's just like somehow just getting really big.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the Alpha Beta Gamer video?
Yeah. Like I saw that you retweeted it and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently that video got like a good amount of attention, so that's probably why.
No, we tried typing in our name. We're like the only ones that don't show up.
Yeah, it's still like that.
I don't know why people are appearing. It's weird.
But also, like, we're just getting like a bit more fans for it, but also like to you, because one of them was they didn't know you brought out the second chapter to Roseblight, so we told them like, oh, it is out. You could try it out and all that.
Yeah. And also, they were surprised that we knew you.
Yeah. It's like, you know the dev? Yeah. And then the JoJo reference that I bugged you the other day.
Oh, yeah.
It's like...
Yeah, I wasn't sure if people would get that one.
Well, we didn't get it because we watched it on the dub. And on the dub, it doesn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
But on the sub, it says it.
Oh, yeah.
Because yeah, we're looking back and then listening to like what we said, because it just went by quickly because we were reading it off, but then we were also
no, but also
rambling.
The part that like because on the comment they put a timestamp of like where it was, and then we were rambling about, or I was rambling,
yes,
about what again?
Like Roseblight's giant head pushing Marmot out into space. So like, is this JoJo or something else? But then after that, I said like, he just has his own personal coffin because of his ship, because it's just a giant head of him, kind of.
Yeah, it was just basically launching Marmot into space with a giant head and him having a personal coffin.
So I thought it was like, are they talking about like when Dio was in the coffin, because that's how the only way they like just sealed him up until it was open later. But then it was just
like stop thinking in space.
Yeah. And then he stopped thinking.
So it was technically right. It was about shooting a guy into space, but it was the wrong part.
Yeah.
I don't know how that actually went perfectly. All talking about shooting a guy in space, and then you have a random part about JoJo in there about a guy flying in space. Yeah, because we even rewatched the last episode because, like, we didn't know the reference.
Well, I kind of knew from just like the memes part, but it's been like so long. It was like, oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Also, you're just good with your dialogue, because I like your writing. It does, you do very well.
I try my best.
He's like 50% he copied from references and other thing, and then the other 50% is him actually writing.
Yeah.
That just sounds like school a bit, where they tell us like, research this history thing, and then most people just pull off the site.
No, you just copy Wikipedia and then put it on paper and then put in some of your thoughts.
I remember later on we had to put it through a system, but it didn't work that well. It was to detect any same
like
writing,
like plagiarism.
Yeah, plagiarism.
Yeah, basically you upload it to a site, and then it comes up with like, okay, how many things in this are like a direct thing from like online
like
or from another person's paper, and then if somebody just copied somebody else's paper, it's like 100% copied, or it's like, oh, your paper's like 25% copied from Wikipedia, but then it's like, I actually wrote this.
Yeah, like that's the thing that didn't really work out. I was like, there's someone that actually wrote it fine, and then the other one is like, they just took it right off the web page. So it's like, how'd they not get caught?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember having to do that too at some point.
But also at times you really don't know what you're supposed to be writing about for certain things, and you're like, okay, what if I type it in, and then it's like, that fits perfectly. Because so far there's been everything. There's been at least books and movies and music and television about everything. So at least everything's been said at least once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, then for Project Malice, is there gonna be any like cutscenes or lore within those random rooms?
Cutscenes and lore.
Yeah.
I know that like for the tutorial, there's gonna be like some, like the intro cutscene where you're introduced to the main characters. But I think a lot of like the story and lore will probably come from just like talking to NPCs, because like you can talk to well, you will be able to talk to the other playable characters at the very beginning, like when after you select your character. So like I've written out some scenes where they like talk to each other about stuff like what's going on, all that jazz. But yeah, there'll probably be like some cutscenes. I do have one, like because as you go through it, there'll be like the randomly generated areas, and then there'll be like some sort of like side areas that you can check out, and those will probably have some extra bonus stuff. But for like if you're just to focus on like the main gameplay, you wouldn't encounter that kind of stuff. So
and then you need to hit a wall 500 times, and then it's going to open. And then you're going to find a Dark Souls reference in there.
I was actually tempted to have an because I've added a few items that are like from software references, like the blood vials from Bloodborne. When you pick up that item, it basically gives you the regaining health after taking damage mechanic from that game. So like if you pick it up and you take damage and you immediately attack an enemy, you'll get some of that health back after you pick up that item. Nice. I was actually tempted to add an item that's like an Elden Ring reference. It'd be called like the Ring of the Elder or something like that. But yeah, a lot of the items will be like references to other stuff.
And then the really big sword, which is going to be an obvious reference to Final Fantasy. No.
No. What else to talk about before the random questions that I got? Well, there's also the someday the Aplov dating sim.
Oh yeah, I'll get there someday. Yeah.
Let's see. You made technically like a tower defense / RTS type thing. You made a side scroller. You made platformer. You made like technically there's the first person space one, but that sort of counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really count that as one of my games.
Yeah. Well, you made a DVD thing.
The simulator.
Yeah, that counts as one of your simulators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you just need like dating sim and no,
The cart.
Yeah.
The Mario Kart ripoff.
The Aplove cart.
Yeah. I actually was kind of tempted to do like a cart game at some point. But yeah, I don't know when I'll do that.
It's just part of the list of what could I do next.
Well, technically, he did do like a rhythm. Yeah, he did do a rhythm game.
Yeah.
And then he did do another one. I don't know what else there is.
Yeah, quite the resume. He could do so much.
Yeah.
A sports game. No.
Yeah, but I don't know if that would really do too well.
An Aplove football game.
Well, I should do like I remember at one point I made Pong but cool. Like it was basically just Pong, but you can like shoot missiles at the other opponent to kill them. That was a long time ago.
Because there was like I think there was a Pong game jam where people just made like a bunch of random ones and we played a couple of them. Like some of them are simple, like adding an ability. Like one of them I think was summon a duck.
Oh yeah,
and it was kind of just distracting.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, it was just a rubber duck that would like randomly go, and then you get another power up, and then two of them would be bouncing around, and then three of them, and then yeah,
just more chaos of just distractions.
And then there's like other ones like there was Pong on the PC where it was like 3D.
Oh, that one.
And it was like different stages, and then ice, and then normal. And then there's I don't know. There's been a bunch of Pong.
Yeah.
The first game.
Yeah.
One of the first video games that they made on a very expensive computer.
Yep. Well,
It's still like that today.
Yeah, just like spend a bunch of money on a super expensive computer and then make Pong. But cool.
Aplove's his big breakthrough. Pong, but cool.
Pong but cool. Oh. like a Pong bullet hell.
Oh, that would be interesting. Okay, so got like 7 questions. Yeah, they're like pretty wordy, so try to keep up.
I speak slow and loud.
Oh, okay. All right. Number 1. Why does the soul chamber fight not happen if you talk to Knight now? I thought having the fight regardless was brilliant because it showed they were afraid of being more trapped than they already were. It showered that level of fear couldn't be resolved with a single conversation. Why was it removed? You should probably read this.
Are these questions from people or?
Yeah. Like, it was just a request to do this, and then there's like a few questions just to say. So I was like, all right, sure.
So, the reason that I had it optional is because I originally wasn't planning on there being like a fight in there, and the reason I added it in the fight was to sort of make that whole area a little more like extended, just to give it some extra thing. And after I thought about it, I was like, having to fight someone after you basically come to terms with them kind of felt weird. So I was like, okay, so what I could do is I could have the option to fight them, which would give you, the chain soul, or you go talk to them and you get the chain soul that way. And so that way, when you go back and then go through that area, you wouldn't fight them. But that was mostly due to just not only there being like a lot of boss battles in that part of the game, but also it just kind of felt a little funky to sort of like go at your throats with other people after you sort of come to terms with them, kind of deal.
Because I remember from just like back then, it was just jumping over a lot of platforms, doing the puzzles and all that, and then after that you just do the fight. But then later on, from just like time, you shortened it, and then you just made it a bit smoother, just getting through there. And
I remember. Yeah, I remember people would die to that fight, and they'd have to do this whole chamber all over again. And that would be, painful to do. So I kind of thought about it. I was like, yeah, I'm probably just gonna make it optional.
Yeah, and then part of it was just us trying to beat the whole thing without pausing or anything.
Yeah.
And that was just because we were dumb. But yeah.
Well, we were using the controller, so like the keyboard, so it's like sometimes we just don't know what's the better one to use. So it's like use controller or use keyboard, but then sometimes like the controller is like it doesn't have all the buttons that you need, or there's like some of them are disabled.
Yeah, and also you just went a little crazy like the first time we tried it, and then the next time we tried it, and then you tried to put a moped in there.
Yeah. No, that was good.
Yeah, one of the multiple times we lose our moped.
Yeah. Well, did I lose it or did I take it the whole way?
Well, I don't remember if we left it in there. If we left it in the mine. If we left it in his soul.
I was still going through that to just see. Because I even us reporting random bugs to you, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that was there. It's like, oh, I fixed that. We're done already.
Yeah, and there was only one bug that we never like showed you, which was, I think, getting the moped stuck in, like when you go to your job, and then you get out.
The flower shop. We were under the building.
Oh yeah. A lot of stuff with the moped. I'm just kind of like, the moped has a mind of its own. If you get it stuck somewhere, just whatever. So.
Mm-hmm.
But it's brought me so much pain, but it's so fun to ride around.
Yes.
And then you run over everything.
Exactly.
It's your first party member. You gotta take care of it.
And then lose it immediately.
Cherish the moped.
I think that was like one of the few games I just really like riding around in like a car or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 2. Why did Zyra openly admit to Marmot that Blake and Knight living in their head is living in their head? This was established to be a secret, or at the very least extremely personal. Why did she admit something so personal to a total stranger?
She admit to
like Marmot when you bring Marmot to your house and then your sister gets there, and then the whole explanation of there's Night and Blight that like reveal, but he kind of said like, okay, that's okay. Like, why did she feel so cool with Marmot? I think that's what it is.
I guess because they kind of, if Blight trusts Marmot, then I guess Marmot is trustworthy.
Yeah, like how I see it is like. Or actually, yeah, you should keep going a bit. I'll say after.
But yeah, I'm not entirely sure how to answer that question, but it's just, I don't know, I guess just trusting Marmot out of obligation or something like that.
Because how I see it is just like, oh, this is like bringing a friend home, but then it's like an alien. But then you have that enough trust to bring like an alien to your house, and he's just hanging out, and then we're gonna go on a big journey. It's like
he's super cool until like way later.
Yeah.
Because I see it was like, oh, he probably told him other things, so I was like, I think it's fine in that moment. But Yeah, that scene, I think it's fine. It doesn't bother me much. It's just something that you don't really think about too much, but it's like, when you actually think about it, it's like, do I need to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see what number 3 goes. Oh yeah, this one just seemed kind of normal. Why is it possible to simply walk past the guards at the front of Charcoal Keep without using pausa on them?
Why is it possible? I think they do attack you if you stay in there for long enough, but because the sort of passageway is short, you can kind of just walk in. But yeah, I think did I put that? I don't know if that was intentional or not.
Because it's kind of like just when you get to Charcoal Keep or just that area.
Because what we were thinking was kind of like, oh, they don't see you as a threat or anything. It's just kind of like, well, you're just kind of there.
Until you go around to that secret passage to go up into there.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't really need to use pause on them if this they're just guards, and if you're standing there looking weird, they're gonna be suspicious. It's like actual guard work.
Yeah, because I didn't want them to attack you on the spot. I don't remember if they attack you if you go past them immediately. But yeah,
because I think it's when you get too close to them, I think just making contact or just being too close.
Yeah,
because it's kind of also most of the enemies and stuff. It's kind of well, if you don't really mess with them, they're kind of just there.
Yeah,
except for certain ones that do just want to try to kill you.
Yeah.
Just the normal barbles. You could just leave them frolicking in the fields. And then the rest of them, they got those angry eyes, or just they look like an enemy. Or the crab, where it's just walking around. You could kill it, but it's not an enemy.
Yeah.
Okay, now to question number 4. This was long. God dang. Okay. Do you want to read it?
What was supposed to foreshadow that both Blake and Knight wanted to change the world and were okay with Death lasering Charcoal to do it? To me, it seems like they were motivated by wanting to be treated as an equal, curiosity, and stress over their shop in that order. Neither of them gave an indication that they were frustrated with the state of the world or its leaders, and especially not that they would be okay with Death lasering innocent people. Why was this suddenly inserted into them without warning? If the answer will come in Project Malice, that's still bad writing in Roseblight, because our Blight was effectively replaced with another character to force the desired conclusion of betraying. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Still can't say it.
Ohaku.
Basically, why do they turn evil?
Did you get all that, or do I just send it to you so you could read it?
Yeah. How do I answer that?
I'll just send it in the chat. So
no, because
that's okay. I understand. I'm going to why Blake and Knight sort of decided to cause havoc, all that stuff. I'm going to leave it up to interpretation, because it's. From the very beginning, I was planning on them being someone who was supposed to be the bad guy. I wanted to make a game where you play as the final boss.
Ooh.
And throughout the game, I tried to hint that they were, not necessarily, good. Like at the beginning, like Blake is sort of covering for Knight, for, like lying to the police, and Knight just kind of like murdering people, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to establish them as like a good person, because they're not supposed to be like a good person. And because their shop wasn't doing too well, all that jazz. They find an alien in their backyard, and I think a lot of that was them trying to, I guess, redefine themselves, and they saw Marmot as like an opportunity, and not just to change themselves, but to also just change the world that they lived in. And there is some aspects to them that I haven't fully like explained, but for the most part, they mostly just wanted a better world for Zero to live in, because of their stuff. And like, I can admit, like, that regard isn't the best writing. But I do think the part where it should have been a giveaway that they were sort of going down like a sort of like a destructive path was the cutscene where Blight and Zero sort of talk about Marmot and the powers that they just got. Where Blight's like, "Hey, I have these powers now. You're gonna have to deal with it. And if you're not, I don't expect you to respect that, but you're gonna have to deal with it. Come inside, talk to Marmot. Blah 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 blah." I think some parts were they might not make sense because some dialogue was cut, but it was supposed to be from the very beginning, sort of hinting at them kind of not being the good guy. But yeah, I think a lot of the confusion in regards to that is because there was just a lot of cut content and just I don't know.
Yeah, but also most people usually when they play or breed or anything, they think the main character is usually the good person.
Yeah. And I kind of wanted to sort of challenge that.
Yeah, because basically they start off like, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm just going on an adventure. Seems like everything is fine, and it's like, no, I had intentions this whole time. And like Marmot is my way of actually realizing those intentions.
Yeah.
So like, you wanted to put your main character to be deeper, but you weren't capable enough to actually like bring it out a bit more. You wanted to have it. Like have it
basically didn't want it obvious.
I didn't want to just like spoon feed the player and be like, hey, the main character is kind of not a good person.
It's like, oh, they actually like were carrying a bloody knife this whole time. Is that obvious enough?
Yeah, you didn't want to put the red flag up when like at like the beginning to like, oh, they're gonna be evil later, or like they already have these weird thoughts, or just they had those intentions since this moment.
Want to go like, oh, they beat up this person for no good reason. Oh, they killed this guy for no good reason. Oh, like putting hints of like, yeah, they're not actually that good because they did all this bad stuff.
But it still puts it in the perspective of like, oh, this is the main character. They're the hero. So whatever they do is supposed to be good. But then later on you figure out like, oh, they weren't actually the hero. They were like the villain the whole time.
Yeah. Well, I think it's mostly a thing of perspective, because in real life, there's no such thing as good guys or bad guys. They're all just we're all just people who fight for what we believe in, you know.
Because one of the
you know,
like most current and easiest ones that basically everyone would put is like Thanos, where he's not really a bad guy, but he isn't good either.
Yeah,
Like-
he wants to, balance the universe, stuff like that, but at the cost of half of all of its the people living in it. So
Yeah, it's basically like we'll do like a soft reset where a bunch of people are gone, but you can grow from that.
yeah,
Where that's really, really bad, but also it makes sense.
Yeah.
Where it's like in Roseblight, some of those things are kind of bad and also good, but also it's mostly fulfilling one person's like ideals.
yeah,
Also, like, it's through the perspective as for Blight or Night, because
Or
you're only
both.
you're like you're going through the story with them. It doesn't switch off anywhere or just like
No, it does like switch off to playing the sister.
where you kind of get the feel of like, oh, there's someone else and they just figured out what's going on now. But it's like I was trying to go with like a different perspective of like if you play it as Marmot or the other ones. Well, you kind of do, but then you don't get those interactions until you like go deeper in. Where it was Marmot and I can't remember the other guy.
Blind sight.
Yeah, Blindsight, where they have that interaction. Whereas like that's a different perspective to think of things.
Yeah. Because even Blind Sight, like, is a god and stuff, and it's kind of like, some of this stuff is kind of not right, but I'm going to go with you anyways. Or you have, like, the secret power.
And then by, like, the end, they just, like, nope, I'm out. Like, they already knew.
I thought about, like, there's supposed to be an alternate ending that I had planned where your party, when Zira and Blight are sort of like shouting at each other, the party would show up, and what you would normally expect is that everyone would like team up against Blight and be like, "Hey, Blight, stop doing all this stuff, stop burning down the city." But what would actually happen is that everyone would turn against Zira because Blight was the one that sort of brought them all together, and they're all on their side, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go side with Blight at this point." And I wasn't sure how that would turn out, so I was like, I'm just gonna have all the extra party members just kind of nope out of there.
Yeah,
So
they could
just to have it be between Zira and Blight.
Because I gotta see how it would like get a bit of complicated or just
Backlash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also just like a lot of things to think of, like just for that final moment too, when you're just like just trying to go with like the main story instead of like splitting off to like maybe two things.
Yeah.
Like,
And then trying to win with like no weapons or armor or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad to think of all that, but yeah, not bad. Now, number 5 out of 7. Why did you make the decision to have Blake knife Diana and have them plan on killing her the whole time? It wasn't actually a big brain play, especially since they didn't use Pausa to do it. This is the supposedly badass monarch who survived 13 assassinations attempts, yet she lets her guard down because some random florist turned over their companion. None of this makes sense. What was going through your head that made it make sense to you? I could see that, but let's see. How do you think that?
Yeah. For that, For them attacking Diana.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of ties into how Roseblight was initially written, because initially what I was planning on doing is that Blake and Knight would basically merge into like the same person, and them stabbing Diana would basically set Blake and Knight to sort of merge into one person, and Blight would truly be born, I guess. But for Blake to stab Diana, I wanted to keep Blake and Knight as separate people, but I wanted to sort of shift away from Knight being Mr. Stabby Stab and to sort of have Blake stab someone willingly for once. Because like the whole time, they've been going through like a lot of shit. Like they've they had to go up on top of the mountain, they fought, the Barbanzo, they fought Marmot, and I think what happened there is that Blake snapped. And the stress that they've been feeling, they've been hiding it all away into like their one thing. They finally snapped, and they just decided we're gonna kill Diana right now. And Knight went along with that. Was like, oh, cool. So I think that is something that I do want to explore, because I think Blake is more of a psychopath than Knight is. Like I think that because, like, and they're probably more dangerous, because they're someone who's, they can keep another personality inside of them for long periods of time and not tell anyone about it, and just sort of go about their day. And because Blake and Knight, Knight killed Blake's parents.
Yeah.
Because of all the stuff that they went through. That's a completely different thing. But Blake just kind of sat there and watched that whole thing unfold. And so I genuinely think that if people sort of expected Blake to be happy-go-lucky, whatever, then that's it's probably my fault for not thoroughly explaining that. But they're kind of someone who's probably worse than Knight. And I think at that moment when they stabbed Diana, that's the part where they finally showed their true colors and were like, okay, I see an opportunity, and I'm gonna do this right now. So,
because like the easiest way to put it is like basically they were kind of a serial killer, where they don't seem like they can even hurt a butterfly, but they were actually planning this whole thing, made it seem like, oh, I can't do anything wrong, and then just knife.
Oh, so kind of like the Ted Bundy, I think, where it was a good-looking guy. He had like a lot of charisma. He like everyone defended him, even like after he went into jail. Like he's the most nicest guy. I would support him with this, but like here's all the evidence. Like
they can't possibly be a murderer.
Like people still believe like he was a good guy, but actually he was like the worst guy you could even meet.
Yeah, because a lot of serial killers, they have a lot of really good charisma and stuff like that.
Yeah. Because like, so for a person that's pure evil, you know what to expect. They're evil. They're gonna shoot you, stab you.
Yeah, they got the look.
But
everything.
A person who can smile after doing all that and then go to like Walmart and buy some eggs, like that person's way worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like, oh, they can just like clean off the blood and then be a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
But a person who's like obviously psycho, it's like, yeah, you kind of know what to expect.
Yeah,
like you already see it from just a profile. Like, oh, they got a scar, they got like a mean look. You just already feel it from just looking at them. But then just looking at someone next to them that they're like super clean, they're always got like a smile, or just like talks to you like right away, but they're like actually the worst person compared to the one next to them.
Yeah.
Because also that was probably why it was so easy to defeat a queen who was supposed to be so powerful. It's like you just don't suspect that person to be defeated by the person who's smiling.
Yeah, exactly. That's why Blake was able to just walk up, because like I didn't make it fast enough, but basically, Blake just walks up, whips out a knife, and just starts stabbing her. And the thing cuts out, like you don't see it, but basically Blake was also able to, stab all the people surrounding her before all that jazz. But yeah, Dinah did not expect Blake to just walk up and get stabbed, because they're the smiley person that just helps bring an alien to them.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's just one of the normal citizens doing a good job,
a good Samaritan. But then you got like Kirby with the knife getting you. That's
how certain psychopaths work.
That's really good. And also, like, it is kind of hard to just convey that or just show, like, too much that is, like, this feels a bit too real or just feels a bit too scary. So, like, I get the part where you did, like, if Smash cuts to, like, it's later and everyone's dead already, but you didn't see it.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. No, these are pretty good. Thought-provoking. Really get in our heads.
Yeah.
Okay, number 6. Why didn't Blight tell Zyra what Marmot told them telepathically to convince them to betray a Haku? He had 2 opportunities to speak to them alone, and he likely figured out they were some kind of proto-god.
You figured out what? I don't understand the question.
Basically, why did Blight not tell Zyra that, like, they were going to work with Marmot, basically?
I think so. It's just worded kind of weird.
Yeah. I think... how do you describe that? So, the whole plan that was sort of explained was Blight would take Marmot to Charcoal to help them out. And I don't think that Zero would have gone along with them if if Blight told them, oh, hey, we're gonna burn down the city, all that stuff, that Zero would have reported them to the police and all that stuff. So it's just them kind of lying to their sister because they they care about them. So I don't know if that answers the question, but
it kind of does. Like, I could, because it's really just saying, like, you didn't show it because you didn't want to have that revealed right then and there or too early.
Yeah.
Well, basically, it's like, it's back to them not being the hero. It's like, yeah, they were going to work with Marmot, like, this whole time because that's what they wanted to do. They didn't need to tell Zyra this because Zyra didn't need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, they didn't want to be the good person. They didn't want to bring it into Zyra. And also it's like, oh, if I tell them now, what if I can't do the plan later? Or, like, what if I'm not going to work with Marmot? Then I never had to tell Zyra this whole time.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it was still, like, both of them were separated, and they were kind of like, Well, don't really know where this is going. Just let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Like, you still wanted that... like, you still wanted that impact of, like, there's betrayal or there's something going on that this other character doesn't even know until later. But
yeah. I wanted there to be like a looming suspicion, but I didn't want to like reveal like, oh, something bad's gonna happen later. Just wanted to be like, hey, here's the plan, here's what's going on, blah 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 blah. But yeah.
It's basically just keeping the mystery until it becomes a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not overexposing them to the whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, now the final question. Okay, I know none of these were truly questions. They were just me pointing out all the ways your writing dropped the ball. But please take this and write Tony, Kate, and ST1GM4.
Sigma.
Oh, Sigma. Better. You're still in college. Please improve for the blight I never got to see shine. Alright.
I think I know who's asked those questions.
Yeah,
Possibly.
some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically, yeah.
I mean, as far as like that, like, I am not a perfect writer. Like, I don't consider myself to be a writer. Like, I am definitely still improving. As far as the overall writing for Roseblight, it's not perfect. I definitely tried my best as far as like what I had to deal with. A lot of my struggles with Roseblight was me struggling with how I wanted the game, how the story was originally planned, and what I wanted to change as I went along the way. So I think a lot of it is just poor planning, and me just kind of improvising as I went along, and that was probably like the biggest thing. And the thing is that their whole character arc, because I had to cut the story down, their arc isn't finished. Like, they haven't finished developing as a character, and that is a problem that I kind of had a problem with, because they were supposed to be like, they were revealed as, the true bad guy, and then you would see them develop more of that later on, but that was kind of cut short. I think it's probably a given, but there's a very good chance that Blight will show up. Both Blake and Knight will show up in Project Malice, and I would like to continue their character development that I didn't get to do in Roseblight. So if that hopefully eases anything, but I'm not done with Roseblight's story. Like I still got stuff to do. And like Tony, Kate, and Stigma, like they're like, so far they're okay. But yeah, I definitely I try to keep my characters interesting. But yeah, I don't think they're, because Blight is a very complex character, and they're probably too complex. And I think I'm just going to keep Tony, Kate, Stigma, and the rest of the characters that show up as a little more simple, because there's a lot of characters, and I don't want to overdo any of them too much, So I think you mostly just they're going to talk to each other. You're going to learn about their backstories and all that kind of stuff.
It's not like there's gonna be a spin-off book that you publish of like this character, their whole backstory and everything.
Yeah.
Like with Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh yeah, like the Five Nights at Freddy's kind of thing.
Where it was basically like, okay, here's this, here's the sequel, here's the prequel, here's the sequel, here's the book, here's the other book.
And this is the Purple Man.
Yeah, and then for you don't have the game theorist like figuring out every single little detail about all your games.
Yeah, I kind of don't want people to do that. So
yeah. Because also for Roseblight, it was basically your first big project, and it developed. The developed kind of weird because it grew with you.
Yeah, like I grew as a person as I was working on it. Like it could have been a much worse game. Like if I didn't grow as I was working on it. So it's like, especially with some things like with the art style, like some of the like earlier sprites, they kind of just feel a little weird because I made them like a long time ago. And as I improved, it was like, oh, it's these two things stay next to each other that kind of look weird. But yeah.
Because you and the game evolved. Like,
Yeah.
it was your big project. You've changed it here and there, but it's still gonna be Roseblight. You still love it, but you can't do as much now because you're expanding. You're learning more. You want to do more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, also, it went from like, oh, in the beginning, I could just take my time. It's not like anybody's going to actually care about when I'm going to bring this out. And then it went like, everybody wants this now.
Yeah, like, actually gained an audience that was waiting, that was beckoning you to bring out more. Like, this is good. I want to see more. And then more. But then, like, you didn't want to get burnt out.
And then it was like, I don't like the more. Give me more.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it just started expanding out. Like, it's already grown out to be something else that I don't want it to be. Like, you're still gonna love it. You're still gonna keep going with it. You love your characters. It's you. Like,
I mean, like even with all of the like flaws that my games have, especially Roseblight, like I still like it as a game. Like, it's like, characters are cool, art style's cool. It's it's like a representation of, I guess, I don't know, I still like it. Yeah.
No, because also it's like with Buckler 1 and 2, like, you just started off like, I'm just going to make something. And then I'm going to make it way bigger, but you didn't really know how to make it bigger.
Yeah.
And then you kind of just went like, okay, this is done.
Yeah.
But still you want to expand upon it with like your other games, or bring it into your other games without really affecting the original stuff.
Yeah.
Because, it's way harder to go back to Roseblight and be like, I'm going to add a whole nother chapter, instead of being
like at this point I've kind of decided, like, it's kind of just is what it is,
It's just way easier to expand it with other games and be like, okay, here's like part 1, part 2 in this game, part 3 in this game, and if you play them along you can get a little more story, but this one, it's done.
Yeah.
It's just part of the chapters and basically your life of, like, game developing.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the AploveVerse. I'm done with chapter 3. Okay, next game.
Because there's probably going to be a project or something down the road where it's not going to be called Roseblight, but it's going to have that feel or have those characters, but they're going to be more developed. They're going to look different over time. Like, they're going to have scars.
It's like, okay, this is 10 years later.
Where's this down that road of, like, this is how they're going to be in the future? Or
no, because even like with
now.
Buckler 2 to basically technically Buckler 3, like, they are connected and they are like technically like later, but they're different games. Because it's like, okay, one's a side-scrolling one where you can go like a train, and the other one, like, you just like, okay, let's beat up this guy with my army.
Yeah.
But it's still like the story still continues even with like your other games. Yeah, that game it's over, but those characters aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when you have like a continued stuff, like and when the game's over, it doesn't mean that the characters are done.
Mm-hmm. Like when the movie ends, the story still goes on. It's just not being shown to you until the sequel or until like someone else does it.
Yeah.
Because it's basically just being like, I know you want more, but I want to do something different, so here's a little more.
Mm.
Here's a pinch of salt there.
Yeah.
If you want a bunch of salt, then okay.
Getting all salty.
You're probably not going to like it if your plate is full of it.
Yeah.
And also, if you do like all that, then I think you're going to complain at some point.
Mm-hmm. Then you're just going to complain about yourself for doing that.
Yeah.
And then the cycle continues.
Yeah, but it's way easier to complain to the person who was messing with your food than yourself for making it worse.
I like how the food is Roseblight to everything else.
Yeah, because he didn't just want to have pancakes. He also wanted to have eggs on the side. He wanted some bacon. He wanted some orange juice. He's not just going to focus on the pancakes.
Yeah.
And then some of that secret sauce tossed in, but then not too much secret sauce.
Yeah.
And then how long has it been?
Like an hour and a half.
Oh, it's not bad. For some reason, I thought it was gonna be like, it's gonna be like a good time, a bit shorter or something, because it's been a while. But it's like
It's never short.
Yeah.
Because I think that's all we got right now. It's been really fun, and also thinking about a lot of stuff now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's always just one of those things that you did make games before, you have made games after, but that is the one that people know you for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be known as like just the Roseblight guy,
Yeah.
It's like it's not. I've said this before, but it's not my magnum opus. I never created it to be my magnum opus. It's just like a thing that I made.
Mm-hmm. It's the thing that propelled you to do more and get that attention.
Yeah. Like after I initially released Roseblight, I told myself, all right, if people don't play this, I'm just gonna stop doing game development. So
Yeah, I remember when you just like disappeared for a while.
yeah.
No, he just got really into Dark Souls and forgot about the rest of the world.
Just Morrowind as well in there too.
And just got really into Skyrim.
And then just got really deep in the basement playing D&D with friends. It was just a whole 24-hour run of D&D. Locked doors, no one else, just us. Bare naked. We gotta make the armor and ourselves. It's gonna go that deep. We're gonna LARP. Yeah.
So it's like he wasn't actually gone. He was just doing something else.
Yeah.
Gotta make that compilation again. But then I might go crazy because the first time I did it, it was like a lot of yes.
I think it was like 10 minutes.
Oh, it was less than that. Oh, it was less than that. Okay, so I think we're good. It was a good time talking to you.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
been
been a
lovely
while.
talking to you guys too.
We love you. We love your games, and at some point this will come out, and probably like Project Malice will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then see what we can do about 420, the day we played Roseblight.
Because didn't expect to have it on 420, but
Yeah, didn't actually realize that we put up your first video of your game for Roseblight on 420, which had nothing to do with 420.
Yeah, it's just all the peace weed.
It's like some people do think we're probably drunk or high, but that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
We're just two weirdos.
Yeah, I've been doing it for like 7 years.
Yeah, only 7 years of being Spudcast.
Yeah.
Oh, we still like it.
No, we haven't given up yet, for some reason.
You guys got this.
We haven't quit after 7 years. See what happens after 10.
Alright, now I think we should end it then. Gotta clean up, get these sweaters off, and then get cleaned up. Alright, so...
Well, I don't think I'm that dirty.
Oh.
I don't know why you have to clean up.
Oh, you think I'm so dirty. Alright, so I'll probably bug you some other time, but yeah, it's always fun. And we gotta do more of these or something at some point.
Alright.
Yeah, alright. Bye, Alex.
See you.
See ya.